This is the mantra that we get to choose that we want to talk about. This one was easy for me. It's Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It is something that I sing in my soul very often. I used to chant kirtan for years, and that's how I learned how to play music and sing at the same time. And then, of course, that transitioned to other things in my life. However, this mantra is, kind of like this verse that I love in a song that is also something that's very dear to me. But it says, may my life be a song revealing who you are. And the mantra, could be translated, of course, many ways. But the translation that I'm going to hold to is, what Alana says as well in the book, A Sacred Sound, is that I sing the praises of God. And so this is something for me that I feel like that is my life. And I love the story, the mythical story of Dhruva. I'm hoping I'm saying his name right. That he is the son of a king, and the king has two wives. His mother's the first wife. She's, tender and soft-hearted. And then the second wife, is vying for her son to be on the throne. So this is that story that we constantly hear of the hero or the one that's on the sacred journey because this world is, creates obstacles for us to overcome. And so it's that beautiful experience and then that opportunity to learn what we need to do in that soul level so that the soul has integrity. And so, of course, he's persistent, and his name is actually Willpower. And so one day, he runs to his father, jumps on the king's lap, and pushes his brother aside. And the second wife is, sneering and basically says, "You'll never gain the love of your father, the king. You might as well go find the love of the heavenly Father," which, I think is ironic because that is our true north. That really is the goal. And sometimes I think that things that are intended to be set up against us or thwart us are literally the things that lead us to the path. And this is a great example of this in this story. So Dhruva, they find, a new home, let's say, and he gets up the next morning, packed, ready to go, and says, I'm basically going to go connect and commune with Vishnu. And I'm going to go into the woods and do this. And, what a better way to do that is through nature. And that's definitely my experience over and over again. These places of solitude in the woods for months on end, literally 3 months at a time, living in woods and, finding myself. So I understand this story on that soul level. And so, he's in the woods. He sits in the middle of the ancient sages called the rishis, and my parents chose my name. I didn't choose this for myself. It really is my birth name, Risha, and he's in the middle of them. And this deep communion that he starts to, find himself involved in as he loves, and he, starts expressing his devotion to Vishnu, the God of the heavens, the creator God. And so, of course, the earth begins to change, and the gods are like, hey, something's happening down there. So Indra, she's kind of like the manager, she, I don't know, the manager of heaven, comes down disguised as Dhruva's mother and asks him to come home. And again, that willpower and that persistence says, but this is my journey, is to stay here and, meditate and love God. And so eventually, Vishnu is told about this, comes to the boy, calls his name with no response. So because Vishnu is God, he sees the image of himself in the boy's heart and mind and draws it out, appears as that. And once that, image has been pulled from the boy's mind, he opens his eyes and sees this exact thing that he's been worshiping or loving and falls prostrate. And it's this beautiful story of surrender. And, when we're faced or we come, to this place where God does actually speak to us in our own language, in our own vocabulary, and the images that we create in our own mind and our own heart, which is what I totally believe. I don't care what name you call it or what religion you choose or any of that stuff, the path's the path. And I really believe that God's powerful enough and beautiful enough and wise enough to draw you where you need to be, or to lead you where you're to go. And so he asks Dhruva, Vishnu asks Dhruva, what is it that you want? And he asks to be a king. So it's done, right? Another part of it that once Dhruva's prostrate, he's dumbfounded, so he doesn't have words, and Vishnu blows the conch shell to restore his speech, which is super cool, and that sound of Om, that soul inside of us to be awakened back here in this world, right? But he agrees and gives him what he asks for, and then attainment that's here on the material. But then once Vishnu leaves and Dhruva's with himself and his, this understanding comes, this deeper understanding that I don't want that. I want to be in heaven with you. I want it to be in your presence. And for me, this is why I love this story so much, because that's all I want. Here I see as just my journey to go home, and then also how we're all just walking each other home, so this mantra is special for that reason for me too. And then also I like to sing it, of course, my own way, because it's my own soul expression, even though that it's something that's old and it could be done the same as someone else doing it. So this is how I like to chant it. I'm not the best singer, but here we go. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.